All right, I think we're
Okay.
live. Let's check the website and see if it's live.
All right. Let me check over here. Yep, I see it.
You can see us?
Uh, I see us on our thing. All right. Give me a moment. I am now inviting you.
Wonderful. Let's go over to
Uh,
TikTok. Make sure we're live on TikTok too. Oh, I can see us.
yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. Alrighty.
Okay. Hold on. Let me
TikTok.
see here. Yep, I'm seeing us on YouTube.
Beautiful.
All right. There we go. Look, we got a lot of people joining. Hey guys,
Yeah.
how are you doing today? We're getting Naf in here, but today we're talking about Star Wars Celebration. I'm going to do a little intro, so why don't you stick around, have some fun, crack open a beer or any sort of drink. We're kind of doing a whole drinking time, so come on over here. All right, gonna get Naf in here.
Alrighty.
All
Accept.
right,
Okay, so
all right, there we
connect.
go.
No, my video as well. Let's do video.
Let me know how our audio is, guys. If you have anything there.
It's
All
me.
right, we can see Naf there.
Okay. Cool. So TikTok is live, YouTube is live. We are good to start whenever you're ready there, my man.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to move you over here just real quick just to make sure that going all good here. All right. There we go. Then it's a little better this way. All right. Still going to get my background just a little bit there. All right, guys, feel free to send in questions. We're going to talk about our time at Star Wars Celebration as well as our trip abroad. Well, I guess Naf's trip abroad, and then I guess both of our trip abroads. But we're going to give a little bit of an intro because that's what we do, and we're awesome. So let's do it. All right, so here we are. All right. Howdy do there, everybody. All right, we are one with the films. Hello, all you rowdy rascals, you rambunctious rapscallions, you red herring, rootin' tootin' shootin', rooster loving sons and daughters of the Force. This is One with the Films, and we are your favorite movie podcast slash live stream that now is experimenting. That's right. Just like that weird night in college, we're trying something new. Now, this is a new segment called Brews and Bullshit, which, will it work? Probably not. Is it, going to be short? Absolutely not. And is it going to be entertaining? Next question. And now this segment is where we basically just talk about sometimes many things, sometimes one thing. But one thing is true, which is we always have a brew and it's time to bullshit. Now, today's bullshit topic is traveling with an Aussie. Now, we will recap Star Wars Celebration and Naf's trip out to America for the first time and just, everything that went down in that regard. And now just introduce yourselves if this is your first time joining us, whether via TikTok and now by YouTube, first time doing this. My name is Movie K Man the Third, and or go by K. And like the white bitch I am drinking a White Claw because I have to stick with the brand, and obviously, branding's important if we're gonna, just do all this. But nonetheless, Naf, please introduce yourself as well as what you're drinking tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Naf, also known as On Second Thought, and today I am drinking a concoction of my own. It is gin and tonic with a touch of lime cordial.
Oh, well done. So now it's time for cocktails and tales. So now here's where we go a little off script, guys. Now, typically, if you follow us, we typically talk about a film. However, we wanted to kind of give you guys a life update since we had a huge, incredible time going and seeing a tons of our friends that we met via online. I just saw somebody in our TikTok live stream. Ellie is there. So very exciting about all of that. And we're just excited to talk with you guys about our experience with Celebration as well as just getting a chance to meet each other for the first time there. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want to jump in and talk about, please feel free to just come in and ask. Hey, Ellie, how are you doing? But I guess let's just start it off because again, typically we come a little bit more prepared for this. This is literally just as free form as we could possibly be.
Yeah.
Uh,
And again,
so
guys, we're live on TikTok. We're also live on YouTube if you like it in high definition. I can see Zane's in chat as well. What's going on, Zane, baby?
oh, phenomenal, my boy! Look at that. And so, basically there. I know there were some people in the group chat who are wondering how to hop on, but I guess they just don't know how to use TikTok. But which is weird for creators. But so, but nonetheless, so Naf, I guess let's kick it off with you. So you come out to America for the first time, and then
Yes.
go to was it first time in London? First time in London too,
First
right?
time in London, first time in LA. Yeah, I'd done a couple of trips prior, but I had only been to Greece, Hong Kong, and Bali.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So
and
like,
this was the
so you've
first
done it.
trip entirely by myself as well.
Mm-hmm. It's see that is like see that's the thing that I think is really kind of cool was you getting a chance to experience so many things for the first time.
I'm proud of you
It's
too,
just so
Zane.
like oh yeah, absolutely. We're split between two awesome little shows of love. We got Dave and Element in the YouTube chat, and then we have everybody over here in the TikTok. So we're gonna see how well our ADs hold up.
It's gonna be very much like, oh my god, who are we talking to?
It's gonna be exactly so, but nonetheless, Nav, yeah. So I guess let's just start off with that. What obviously two were very different experiences, right? One was like a convention, so there was a lot more with that, and then you were obviously in LA a lot longer. I
Yeah,
guess I'm kind of curious with how you experienced everything. Was it? I guess what was kind of like your takeaways, like starting in the most broadest sense, like what was kind of the things that you didn't expect in general. How'd you feel about it? How'd everything go with it?
yeah. I mean, I expected you to be taller. That was the first point.
That's fair.
That's the first point.
That's
I
fair.
expected a taller man. And it wasn't. It was. I was disappointed. I was a little disappointed. I'm sorry. I thought all Americans were like 7 foot tall.
That's fair. It's we're just so I feel like the tallness is definitely one of those things that do wish was left to the imagination just to imagine me like 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
I really do wish I could like in your mind I could play a Wookiee. Like that's the vibe.
I get that. Um, I think that besides that, most things. What surprised me is how similar, like LA was to Melbourne, for example. Like outside of like the actual suburbs felt pretty similar, but when I was actually walking around and exploring, it was the fact that there was like mountains in the background that like I didn't expect. I didn't expect LA to be so mountainy. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I just thought it
Yeah,
was
I
all
got
going to
you.
look like Hollywood, and it didn't.
It is one of those things that I do find that part to be a very interesting, like even just living here, I think that it's a really beautiful thing to see, whether it's the like hills and or things like that. I have to call them hills because Allie will crucify me if I call them mountains. Um, because to Italy standards, absolutely not. Like sort of a thing. But my I think that like one of the coolest things with what you were doing was like whether it was just like driving on the other side of the road and seeing you scared every time we entered a car.
The amount of
Like
times that I walked up to your driver's seat to get into the car, like sorry, that I walked up to to your driver's seat to get in because I was the passenger, and that's the driver's seat. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
that's not how that works.
Exactly, right? Like it's one of those things where just seeing you change like that mentality, but like be low key scared every time
Oh yeah,
is one of the funniest things. And
it was
so
super
obviously,
weird.
oh yeah, like so obviously, like some of the things that we did in in LA was, we had a ton of stuff like whether it was going to see John Wick at the Chinese, and or it was getting a chance to go to Disney for Universal Studios with my wife Allie. Um, going a chance to do all of that. I guess I'm just kind of curious, like with your overall going to a Lakers game, you dragged me to a sports ball
Mm,
game, which I like. Not
mm,
even my parents have been able to fully do.
for sure. And
Like,
shout out to Zane for helping me sort that out because
oh,
I was gonna pay
absolutely.
way too much money for tickets.
Like, it's one of those things where I think that Zane helped us get such cheap tickets for such good seats.
It was
Like those
awesome.
seats were awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was wicked. The NBA was definitely a highlight. I was a little sad because We got to watch Lakers and Phoenix, and Kevin Durant's just joined Phoenix, and obviously LeBron's been in LA for a while, and both of them were injured that night. So that was a bit rough to go. All right, I'm here. I'm only going to one game, and they're not playing. But
Oh
I
yeah.
got a little video of LeBron James that I put on my Instagram that is annoying me with how well it's performing. Like, I'm still getting notifications like on an hourly basis of this person liked your video, this person followed you, and I'm like, are you following me for NBA content? Because like that's not gonna happen. I'm not doing NBA content. I'm a nerd. Um,
It's one of those things where like we'll let them figure that part out sort of situation.
yeah,
And it's like that's my favorite part of it is just seeing how you uh like every time we would wake up and like I swear to God, like I would come home from work or something like that, and then you would have a moment where you would say something akin to that moment of like fuck, and I would be like, what's going on? What's wrong? And then you would just be like, my NBA one is blowing up again. Like, and
yeah,
I feel like the proportion of your Instagram, like your analytics got to be like all over the place because you got to have like on average just like average views on like your other stuff, and then just like this is in the hundreds of thousands
yeah,
of views.
exactly. It's ridiculous. Like everything's been pretty normal, and that one's blown up, and that one also got me a lot of followers too. So like, not that I had heaps of followers on Instagram, but I doubled my followers. So like, I'm about to hit 200 now, and I'm like, oh, and all these people want NBA content. Oh, orcs.
It's one of those good luck.
Yeah, but the NBA was definitely a highlight. That was awesome. I have been telling every person at home who's asked me, what my favorite like moments were, are like it's literally just staying at home and watching movies. Like those were my favorite moments. Like we got to
Oh
watch
yeah,
Hell or High Water. I took you through a 3 night audio
a three
commentary
night.
breakdown of The Last Jedi, and then I
uh,
had Diet in the Force says, or Pep says, NBA stands for Naf Boy Aesthetics. So that's my new
I,
company
I
name.
I was I was about to say like that's definitely what we're calling you now, is just calling you NBA.
Amazing.
Like just
But yeah, like that those like 3 days across where we watched all of like the John Wicks back to back in anticipation for the new film. We got to watch The Last Jedi over like 3 nights and just sit and talk about it and fall asleep to the film and then wake up the next day and kind of go back to where we were and keep going. Um, those were
that
like
was so much fun.
they were little perfect moments. Devastated we didn't get a chance to record a um stream like while we were there. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we just like we had a lot going on. And yeah, I
absolutely.
miss you like crazy, man. Like
Oh, likewise. Like it was so great to have you there. Like I wish that we were able to share a lot more with like you guys all who are joining us virtually, like what it was like. It was so much fun. I mean, whether it was getting a chance to go to Disney with you, it was well, some of my favorite moments was definitely showing you movies because that was kind of fun for us to just randomly throw something on in the middle of it.
yeah,
Like it was one of those things of just having those moments of like the first night we watched Bullet Train, like literally just as we were getting ready to go to Two Bit Circus, which if you're in LA and you want to go and do that, absolutely go and watch Two Bit Circus. Like, or I guess not watch, but go to Two Bit Circus. Because it's an awesome arcade. We you could see something on like I think it's on the one with the films page. Like they
mm.
have this like VR flying simulator where you simulate a pterodactyl. It's the most ridiculous looking thing from like the outside. You're just strapped to this board and like flapping your wings like a bird, like flapping your arms like a bird,
it was pretty
and you're just
wild.
going and doing this. But the thing is, you feel like you're like a pterodactyl as you're going and doing this.
It actually gave me like 'cause I'm terrified of heights, and it was actually a feeling of like when you go off the hill and you just fall down. I was like,
And it's
nah,
the
I don't like this. I don't like this feeling of falling. So it took me a while to get used to it, but it was really really cool.
Oh, absolutely. And my favorite thing, like that was one of those that was like a really cool opportunity. I definitely think the Last Jedi one was my favorite, like one of those favorite moments, just because when you watch something with somebody that like legit loves like that thing, it changes your whole viewpoint on it. Like,
I
and
thought you were gonna
as
end the
like
sentence there. He changed his whole. I'm like, What hole?
I mean, listen, baby. We're not going to talk about that's for our only films page.
Only films.
That's Allie and I were talking about that last night. I was like, the scary part of you and I is that we're one drunk joke away from making that happen. Like the issue is that you and I have the same brand of humor.
Mm.
So the thing is that we'll just one up each other until this is a thing. And like it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's true. We're one bad joke away from having an OnlyFans that's surrounded by us
It is
making
what it
movie
is.
themed photo shoots. It is like give the
It'll
people
be
what they
like,
want, right?
do you remember when we watched Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, and they have their like spin-offs of that? It'll be like our version of
Yeah.
those.
I was thinking about what we could do for Jaws of just doing like like just a photo of just like looking up and just having the boat be something very different. But like
They're
just
wild. Yeah, but no, we're not talking about naffing, Johnny. But yeah, like I think that you got to introduce me to a bunch of movies that you've been wanting to for a while that we hadn't gotten around to
oh
yet,
my god,
and so
that
we're
was
gonna try
so
and
much fun.
get some episodes recorded on those, so you guys can see our thoughts. But like, for those who don't know, Keegan's favorite director is Steven Spielberg, and I used to give him so much shit on that, just for being a normie and just picking the goat. That's like, when you ask someone who the best basketball player is, and they're like, it's Michael Jordan, you're like, easy answer.
Okay, you're exactly.
That was my thought always, and then I realized that I'd seen like 3 Spielberg films, and so I've been working through his filmography, and you can see how I've ranked them on my letterbox, which you can find through like the link in my bio. But
Nice plug.
yeah, yeah, I finally got to watch Saving Private Ryan was a big one.
Oh yeah.
And outside of the Spielberg side of things, I got to watch Hell or High Water, which was brilliant. Like that was brilliant. And I got to watch Good Will Hunting as well, which I actually still have on my shelf here. Where are we?
Yeah, I do love how you didn't watch your copy that you've had for the we watched it on mine. Like
Yeah. But I have it on this shelf here and it's sealed. Like I never opened it. I bought it one day on special. Like, I'm gonna watch that, and I just never did. So yeah, I'm glad that I got that off. And again, we watched all 4 John Wick movies, like back to back, one each per night. And yeah, we got to watch The Last Jedi, watch a bunch of Rebels episodes again, watch a bunch of Bad Batch episodes
That was
again. We
fun.
got to watch the finale together post Disneyland.
That was I forgot. Like it's so much happened over the course of those weeks that I forgot that we watched that together.
That was so intense.
That
man.
was mental.
Yeah. That's so
Just
intense.
having that Bad Batch, like we're gonna invite Spooky Brie on here, and we're gonna do a Bad Batch recap, like thing. My goal is also to get Tate on here for that one because I want to just hear his thoughts as a non necessarily Bad Batch diehard.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I really do want to watch. Like, I mean, honestly, like any of our people that wants to talk Bad Batch, but they know that they're gonna be like also Crosshair's Baby Girl would be fun to have on there for that. Like,
Yeah.
some of the Bad Batch creators. But I also do want to acknowledge this is just hilarious to me. Somehow, when we started talking about our only films page, the TikTok audience plummeted, but the YouTube audience went up. So I'm just like, you can really tell which side caters to what. Like, so, but
David says Michael
like,
Jordan is the only reason he likes Bulls. He doesn't watch sports, and I get that.
Oh, absolutely.
At home, at
Michael
like
Jordan made me like the animal, the bulls. Like Michael Jordan made me actually just appreciate male cows a lot more.
Very interesting. Have you watched The Last Dance?
Oh shit! My family actually has like a whole joke about the last. Like I've watched a fair amount of it, and that was fascinating. Like I
Yeah.
truly like was obsessed with that aspect. But what would happen is my dad would talk about the Last Dance, and my dad would always talk about it as it was just as it was airing, mind you. So like it wasn't actually this case, but he would go, "Oh, are you talking about the Emmy award-winning documentary The Last Dance?" Like chronicling Michael Jordan's rise from the Chicago, like he would go through this like whole his whole dang like elevator pitch. And it was just so funny to see how uh basically just to see how this goes from one to the other.
Yeah.
That made me so like it was fascinating. But my favorite thing about my dad would he would just always bring that up. He would just be like, "The shit, are you talking about The Last Dance?" This, and he would just do the same bit over and over again. But it was always so goddamn funny.
I think we got our first
And
subscriber to our Only Films. We haven't even made it yet, but Jim's going off in chat.
done.
Pain. All
Say
right,
no more.
we're creating it today. Creating it today.
All right. Okay, so guys, let's go. Just community guidelines. Like
It's your free tease.
it's
I got this is
oh,
stupid.
and our TikTok's
I have
plummeted
done,
again.
I've done 2 streams on YouTube, and in both streams, I've shown my nipple. I don't know why that's a thing, but I have 100% nipple show rate on YouTube streams.
Absolutely, and our YouTube is now going down. But no,
Damn it! It's supposed to go
but,
up.
So yeah, like so Bad Batch 1 was that was awesome. That was actually when we ran into Choco and Pep that day.
Yep.
That was at Disney.
Yep, we ran
where
to Choco,
you and
Pep, Nick was there. We met Sarah.
Nick was there. Sarah was great.
And Mark. I found it really funny
Yeah,
when we were
Mark.
going around, and it was like, this is Element 7, this is Codename Fulcrum, this is Darth Choco, this is Snackson, this is Mark. That was like, that was my favorite thing.
That was. I think you and I, for the rest of the day, were bringing up Mark the whole rest of the day there. Like,
and Pep said that they had increased viewership for Nip Slips.
Oh, perfect. So maybe we'll just do one of these streams at some point. We'll just do it shirtless.
Just
shirtless, you and I. But like, we're not in shape. So it's just like us.
Hey, I've lost like 11 kilos, man. Like, I'm nearly there.
Oh,
I'm nearly
absolutely.
there.
I think that was the depression talking, but that was more the...
Hey. A win is a win, okay? If I'm not eating, but I'm losing weight, 1 out of 2, bro. We're good. We are good.
That is true. But like, I do think that whole day at Disney after meeting Mark, we just kept going around being like, they would introduce in like one of the promo videos of like Star Tours and stuff like that. They would be like, "This is your pilot," and then you and I would just go over each other and Mark, just like just have that moment.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
But yeah, like that first day, the second day at Disneyland was a bit of a struggle because so tired from day one. Like it was like a half day. We left by like 3:00, and we got everything done. We had a nice lunch. Yeah,
the lunch was really nice.
Yeah. What was confronting, which I didn't really expect, was a couple of things in how Americans do things. I was walking around and like everything felt reasonably priced. Like it did. Like I would go and get food and I would be like, yeah, cool, man. Like $15 for a burger. Like, sure, that's easy. And then I was like, no, you need to convert that and multiply it by 1.6 for the Australian exchange rate. And then you also need to add tax and you also need to tip. So I'm like, that is like a $30 burger.
Yep.
What?
And then you would look at me and be like, what's this shit? And then I would just simply be like, what do you mean? That's how we do things.
Or it would be like I ordered my Philly cheesesteak and chips, and it would come out with like potato chips out of the packet. And I'm like, they literally just opened a packet of Red Rock deli chips and poured it on my platter. What? This is wild.
You're just like, what do you mean? Like I thought I ordered chips, and then they're like, yeah, that's chips.
Yeah,
and
they definitely made the drinks stronger. The drinks they made strong. Like, I think they're just free pouring everything. Because a lot of the time they wouldn't grab the little thingy and pour it in. But in Australia, they're very, like, they grab the shot glass and
precise.
It's perfect. Yeah, so annoying. But I got drunk quicker, so that was nice.
That is true.
Sorry, that is true. You're boring me.
Understandable. That's the vibe. But like,
with that being said, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Come on.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Maybe I'll go. No, you go. You go.
Oh, okay. I'll go.
Seriously, you go? Then you just stop right there.
No. I didn't actually do it. Like, no, come on.
Should I go?
But no. So
all right, I'll go.
I think you should go.
I think you should leave.
Done. All right, see you guys. That's
But yeah, so they did make the drink stronger. That was lovely. Um, Besides that, but it's like, yeah, the second day at Disney was tough, but there was more like rides. I think I really would have liked to get to Six Flags because I really wanted to go on some rides,
definitely
like some like thrill rides,
real rides.
where Disney very much felt more like catered experiences, and I was like, these are really cool experiences. But yeah,
My favorite one that you had, I like Rise of the Resistance. We'll talk about just as its own thing. Like ultimately, you and I absolutely are. We were born to like that ride.
yeah,
But my favorite one was you not really understanding what the Guardians of the Galaxy ride was.
mm,
Like you just going into because it was like our first ride of the day. And I was like, oh well, it's at a decent wait time. Let's go over here. Let's just do Guardians. And you're like, all right, cool. And didn't question what the ride was. Like I realized in retrospect, you never even asked what it was.
yeah.
And my favorite part about it was we're going on mission breakout. We could sit down, and I don't even think you even asked like, oh, so what is it like? What is this thing?
Like I know
And
you
then
had
it
said
was
it was
just
like
this
Tower of Terror, and I was like, I assumed it was just going to be like a little bit of a drop. Like I was like, yeah, cool.
yeah.
Like I don't love drop ones, but I got used to them. And I was like, the last time I went on a drop ride, they've got one called the Giant Drop in Dreamworld in Queensland,
Okay,
and
yeah.
that one is like it's outdoors. Like you go all the way to the top, and you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
all of everything, and then it just drops, and you're like, oh god, okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that was wild. But yeah, like I didn't know what I would see. I was just like, okay, cool, go.
And then you see Rocket like strap the thing in, and then all of a sudden I just see Nav just go, huh, and just like start like as the thing goes up, he
Yeah,
just grabs my arm and he's holding it. Like I put my hand on it, and like we have like the picture, and it's like he has this it's like we're an old married couple that's like going through the park. He's
yeah.
just like holding it
I
like
was
my
sitting there
arm, and
like
I'm
this.
just like, it's okay.
Yeah, like I'm sitting, and then as it moves, my first reaction is just like get in under the arm and like hold on. It's like, nah, not doing anything.
It was,
Fuck.
it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And
And
Indie
just
Yoda
seeing
just
that
joined in
happen.
chat. Hey, Indy, how you doing?
How you doing, pal? How you doing? And just like, but my favorite thing about this was just simply having the uh the joy of just seeing you get out of that ride, just being like, that was not what I was expecting, like whatsoever. And
Yeah,
just having you just be like, ooh, okay, where can we get more of that? Was kind of like the vibe.
yeah.
And
I found it funny. I saw a meme about this afterwards. I can't remember if you said it to me, but it's like Disney knowing that your whole body is sore or your legs are sore from walking around all day, and then they create a ride where you then have to use your hands as well. And so, like by the end of it, I was like, after the Spider-Man ride, I was just like, oh, dude, like, nah, so done, so done.
yep, it's
Um,
just one of those moments like as doing that, like, and that one is exhausting.
Yeah,
That
I thought
one
I was
I
doing
was
so
not
well at the
expected to
start
do.
too. Like I was like, my score is
I
incredible. It's like bang, 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 bang. Yes, I'm killing all the
my
little
fa-
spider bots.
my favorite one of that was like you and I went on Buzz Lightyear, and during that time, we had a moment of like we were looking at our scores, and somehow I will blame it on my gun because I 100% believe it was the gun, not skill. That was the issue here. But it was like so drastic. The like the difference in our scores
That's just because you suck.
was like, oh, like okay, listen, I got Space Ace, which was uncomfortably accurate. And so that was pretty much there. However, I felt like they meant to be like, oh, you're good at shooting, and I'm like, no, I just don't like sex. And it's just one of those things where it's like we met a mutual agreement. They changed the sign. But the thing was that, but I think one of my favorites was you going on Star Tours. That was really cool.
I'm
Seeing that.
devastated that in the do we go 2 times or 3 times? Two,
We
I
went
think.
twice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
devastated
twice.
that I didn't get picked as like the rebel either time, or like the
Oh
secret
yeah.
cargo. But it is what it is.
Damn kids.
Yeah.
damn kids that they want to like have like, oh, this kid's having a moment. I'm like, I have a moment. Let me.
I didn't anticipate there being like an animatronic there as well. I thought it was all just going to be on the screen. I was like, yeah, cool. Like I'm gonna see a cool like little slideshow that's like, you know, like the Disney fly-throughs on Disney Plus. Like, cool, done. But
Yeah.
yeah, having like C-3PO right there as like a little animatronic and controlling things was very cool. I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
expect that. So Star Tours was one of my favorites, and which is weird because it's such a simple little thing, but just in terms of like committing to the bit, you know, like you walk through, you're like in an airport, you
Oh yeah.
leave, like it works. Indy, we did go on Rise of the Resistance, and that was wild.
Oh yeah. I was gonna so like obviously I know how you feel about it because also I saw a lot of it. But for the record, it was both of our first times going on Rise of the Resistance. However, I've been obsessed with this ride, or at least what this ride was, for years. And I had never been able to go on it because it was always one of those popular rides that you couldn't quite make work. But so with you there, like I'm curious, because obviously Galaxy's Edge, whole enchilada of an experience, right?
mm,
Like um it it's so incredible in what they've been able to do with that ride. Um, and I'm just curious, like, because obviously, like, I guess was that your favorite one of the day?
oh
Was that the
man,
best one for you?
probably yeah. I mean, we could talk about Smuggler's Run a little bit as well because we went through that twice, and I
Oh,
remember
that was so
your
funny.
reaction to my reaction of the pilot in front of us getting to pull down the switch to go into hyperspace, and I was crying because I didn't get to do it. I was just like, and then you brought me back through again, and you told the guy it's his first time. Can we get him to pilot? And I got there, and did you? I don't know if you got a video of it, but like that moment of just like punch it.
I don't think I was able to get the video of it because I was trying to get my phone out, but I got a picture of us in the pilot seats, but I didn't get
It's
a
so rude.
video of. I know I'm so just terrible.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing was yeah, like we tell because we told the guys twice, right? Like we had a moment of like the first time we go in there, it's like there's a couple and like there's a couple there, and we had a moment of like oh okay we're all talking and we're there and we talked to the guy. It's like oh yeah it's first time here and like it's great it's
Mm.
fantastic and then the guy was like cool and there was this couple that was also next to us that was like this like guy and his uh I I think it was also due to the fact that the girl was very very cute. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You're cute, but like men are simple creatures. And I think that there was a moment where it's like, you guys are going to be the pilots. And just having that moment of us looking at each other, just having this moment of like, um,
Oh.
okay. And then, yeah, seeing your eyes just have this moment of
Yeah. That
like,
was
just that killed me.
yeah, that one like that
That
was
killed me.
interesting. I was like, "Are you serious, my brother? Like in
The
what
first time I
world do
experienced
these guys
going
have
into
the right?"
hyperspace.
Yeah. What
Like,
do these
because
guys
I
have the
felt like,
right
yeah, we
to
got to do it the second time, but it wasn't the first time,
mm,
Like, it
mm.
was
Yeah, but it was
like,
cool. It was very cool. And the Hondo Onaka animatronic was intense. Like it was very cool. Yeah. So like we spent the majority of the day in Rise of it's not in Rise of Resistance, sorry, in Galaxy's Edge, which is awesome. And there's a
understandable.
video on our socials of my like first reaction to walking in because Rise of the Resistance is kind of like at the front, and at so you kind of walk in, and they've got an X-wing and an A-wing, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, like this is nice, like it's like a real thing, awesome, and it's a nice little area. And then as you walk past Rise of Resistance, you actually land in Batu, and it's like, oh no, it's like much bigger. It's much bigger, and again, the commitment to like making it feel real and an experience that you can like live in is just yeah, it's wild, it's
It's
intense.
insane. We also I built my lightsaber there, so
Yeah,
we
have you
got
got
to
it there? Do you want to
experience
show
that.
us?
Oh yeah, give me a moment. I'll get it.
I'll
Gonna
sit
go
here
over here. Hold
silently
on.
and awkwardly. I can see the one with the
Oh,
filmy
exactly.
in your
Thanks.
background too. Oh, he can't hear me. But yeah, so Kay built a lightsaber, and I bought one. I bought Cal Kestis's lightsaber, which I've got on display in one of the other rooms now. But his
So
built lightsaber is pretty cool.
yeah, so they had various different options
Mm,
that you could get, and kind of different styles. And
yeah,
Naf and I both saw that there was kind of just the phenomenal like High Republic style one. So that's
yeah,
what I got here. And then uh got the purple. Uh so that's pretty finally got it to work. We had a little bit of an issue that um the lightsaber was very akin to just, you know, it basically was very finicky, and it decided that like at times it wanted to work, at times it didn't.
yeah,
And that was a very funny experience, even taking it to Celebration with us, that chose to work then.
yeah.
And then it was like, but you planned on not having it the whole time, so it's like, what do you want from me?
Yeah,
And
exactly. So
like,
that was kind of rough, but at least you've got it working now, so that's pretty cool. But that
oh yeah,
experience of building a lightsaber, I think a couple of things that I noticed was like it's much higher quality than I thought it was going to be. I think the original look, I was like, it just looks kind of plasticky, and but the pieces of metal, it's quite dense. Like it is cool.
yeah.
And yeah, that whole experience was dope. I remember going up to the guy at the front, and he was talking about some stuff, and again, he was super in character. Like he just was committed to the bit. He made a joke about like one of my friends had passed through here, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we're like, well, shut up. You're not friends with Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was something
It's
like
like,
that.
shut up, man.
Yeah. But that was cool. I got to try blue milk and green milk, and the green milk was
Yeah.
kind of yuck, but the blue milk that I got, they added like these like sour jellies into it. That one was really tasty, so I recommend that.
That was good.
But that was
They
like
gave that one to
Disneyland,
us
and
for free.
yeah, they did. They had like a spare.
They had like
But
a spare, and it's like, what do you mean you have a spare? Like you just made one for like the fun of it? Like
they looked at me
just
and they were like, "I
like,
have a spare," and I was like, "Me too."
yeah, just kind of
Um,
that's me, baby.
But yeah, like LA was really cool to be hanging out with you so much, man. Like, and it was actually heartbreaking to start thinking, oh, I'm leaving in a few days and I'm going off to Star Wars Celebration without you. But then, you decided last minute to buy some tickets to Star Wars Celebration.
You were out.
Um,
You were out, and just like had a moment of we were talking, and we were just like, and I was talking with Allie about it, and then Allie was like, "You got to see if you can go to Star Wars Celebration. You got to see if you can do
and
it."
your
Like,
tickets
and I
came
was,
cheaper than mine because you got a 4-day pass. I had to buy all my days individually. So like,
oh yeah,
rubbish.
baby. I ended up having a moment where I basically went over to the website and I was like, I'm just curious. If basically my theory was if I could get a ticket, then it was meant to be.
Mm.
It was kind of like a thing of if I don't, oh well, I tried. I ended up getting one instantly. Like I put all my information down. I ended up just getting it, and I was like, huh? Aren't these supposed to be like hard to get or something like
Yeah.
that? Like, and then I got a 4-day pass, which was better than yours, and that was hilarious.
And
Was
they done
just
like
like
price drops on them as well. So like yours came in significantly cheaper than mine.
which was insane. And then you had already had like the everything figured out there, but then I had to basically do what you had done for the like a couple of months prepping. I had to do like all my shit in like 2 days,
Yeah.
in like 2 3 days, like a week.
But you managed to
And
get on the
we
exact
went,
same flight as me, and we got to sit next to each other. Like,
oh, that was so much fun.
yeah. Rough flight,
That
though.
was
Difficult to sleep.
difficult to sleep, especially when you're the one in the middle seat, when there's a woman who's apparently gonna have an asthma attack that's like across the aisle from you. And you had the idea that's like, what if we get the opposite seats, and then like people will only have to be desperate if they want the middle one. And then it was like, okay, all right, we'll swap over, we'll go sit over here, and then have that moment there. And then I just see you over there, like you have the window, so you're kind of leaning your head against, but apparently you didn't sleep well either. But I just basically was like, nah, that's not happening. That's not
Yeah.
happening.
It was rough, but you know, we're alive. But we made
We're
it
live.
to LA, to London. London was cold. Also, one thing I'll add,
Yeah.
LA, the weather was shocking.
Oh,
Like,
well,
there
also
was
you
so
came
much
there at
rain.
like you came there at like the weirdest time. Like again, talk about global warming. Like, like it's a thing of going, this thing is the weather was just downright crazy.
Yeah.
And like, but yeah, that was insane. It was insane for us. Like, it was just that was a moment of like, I didn't know that this is what happened. This is what happens here. But like, apparently, but going to Celebration, crazy,
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
And I think, flying from the other side of the world to Star Wars Celebration specifically, like, it's an interesting feeling because the previous year I got to, I basically stayed up all day and watched the streams from home, and I felt like I was there, and then the
Yeah,
things that I kind of didn't see leaked, so I kind of got to watch everything anyway.
yeah,
And so part of me was like, I don't know what it's going to be like being there. And I think in terms of just like the core like content and experience, like maybe like maybe it doesn't quite feel worth it to fly halfway around the world for it when you can access it from home. There is something really nice about being able to experience stuff with like-minded people and not just see it on the internet where everybody's kind of like, like when you're
yeah.
there, everyone's kind of got the same mindset. We've paid a lot of money to get here. We're going to enjoy it. I don't care what you're announcing. I mean, I'm sold.
You
Um,
can go and take a shit on the stage, and I will clap.
yeah,
Like,
but I mean, I
like,
don't mean to say that the experience was negative at all. The point that I'm trying to
oh, at
make is
all.
that it's a great experience. It's an expensive experience, so you might feel if it's something that you want to do that it might not be worth it. But what really puts it over that line for me above anything else was the people. And
Yes.
like, especially if you find that you've been connecting with people, on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and you have the opportunity to meet these people in a place where everyone feels the same about something you all love, that is what made it worth it for me. Yeah, like I came home with like what 10 of the best friends I've ever had in my entire life that I knew of and knew through our podcast and thinking of people that have been on the episodes and stuff. But I feel like
A
there's
lot of
something
people that
about
you guys would know,
yeah,
and many of whom are watching this stream. Like,
but I think that it's crazy because like you always when you're on this side of it, you always feel the outward love. JJ comes on the podcast and I'm like, it seems like she's having fun and we love having her on, but like, does she really love being on with us? And then when you meet in
exactly,
person,
yeah.
and I spent the whole day one with Kari, a Star Wars tier, and JJ, Lady Dragon JJ, she is now. Go follow both of them on Instagram, TikTok, all those places. And that was one of the best days of my life. It was just
yeah.
the best. We got to sit in the Lucasfilm showcase and lose our minds to the Acolyte trailer together. We got to see some Indiana Jones footage. We got to see Daisy Ridley come on stage. Andor season 3 teaser, like, or not season 3 teaser, sorry, like a season 2 like recap kind of vibe. Actually, did they show the season 3 teaser? I think they did, and then they showed it again in the Andor presentation. But yeah, there was a lot of
They
really
showed
cool
that
stuff there.
you told me that you had seen it, and then it was like you were hoping they were going to do it when we got to do
Yeah.
the Andor panel, because I didn't go to the Lucasfilm showcase. You know where I was? I was at Forbidden Planet, waiting in line for Naf's book that he wanted me to get him.
It's a beautiful book.
Also Zane's book, and so I got them books. But that was great because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have met Johnny, and I wouldn't have met Ellie. Well, Ellie and we met the previous night, but Johnny and I wouldn't have gotten a chance to do that. And then Johnny and I had a moment where we were just chilling. Like, Ellie went to go and do something. I forget exactly what. But Johnny and I were chilling because we had the Ming Na Wen photo op later. And then we both were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool that if we basically decided that we basically were just like, we were tired. We were like, okay, we've waited in line for a while. Let's get some food. We went and got some boba tea. We decided that, okay, let's actually go and go to the Andor panel. That's because to me, I was like, basically, there are two things I want to do. I want to go to the Bad Batch panel, and I want to go to the Andor panel. And Johnny and I basically were like, we got time. It's like a couple hours before the thing starts. Why don't we go and wait in line for the celebration stage so we can be there in person? And we go, and Johnny and I just became attached at the hip from then on. Like Johnny wasn't there the next day, but like
We
Johnny and I
missed
just
him.
had a moment of like, this was awesome. Like, honestly, I really did miss you the second day because you had some stuff that you had to take care of the second day. So I was basically just slumming it alone in celebration. I was just over there just being like, all right, this is cool. It's fantastic. Awesome. And having a great time. But like Johnny and I having so much fun in line. We were talking about we live reacted to the Ahsoka trailer.
Nice.
And we had a great moment with that. And there was at one point where you sent me that text of like, oh, I met him. I met him. Like, oh my God, you're gonna be so jealous. I met him. And I was like, I have never seen Naf really like fucking freak out about something. I was going with Johnny. I was like, Johnny, who do you think he met? Like, who do you think is this? And then Johnny's like, I wonder if like Dave Filoni was walking the floor and like Naf got a chance to like meet this or like a Tony Gilroy or something like that, something that
Yeah.
like we would freak out about. And so like and the Wi-Fi in there was shit, so we couldn't communicate. And so then there would be a point where I'm like, you better tell me who it is. And you send me a picture, and it was a guy in this cardboard, like awesome cosplay of IG-88. And then Johnny's like, I'm confused. And then I said, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it was so
And I was standing next to JJ when I sent those messages to you, and I was like, "Watch this, he's gonna lose his mind." And then yeah, your response was beautiful. But like, imagine like a $2 store IG-88 costume. Like he literally had one big piece of cardboard with a hole in it that he wore as a poncho and painted, and then just like a circular mask that went up really high, and he painted that as well. I've got a photo of it which I'll put on my Instagram at some point. But that was that was mental. I was like, what the hell is going on?
that was so funny. And then going to the Andor panel was incredible.
Mm.
And now like that one really moved me. There were a couple of things here because you and I have talked about like there's been some stuff with Star Wars that I haven't necessarily cared for that was like, it was good like watching it and things like that. I love the universe, so it may not be my cup of tea, but I'll watch it, and if I like it, hopefully I do. Things there. But it felt really nice between Bad Batch and Andor having two shows that I have absolutely no notes on, having two shows that I absolutely are like,
It
oh,
was perfect timing
I'm
for you to
all
go to
in.
Celebration.
It was so great. It
Mm.
was like it was my favorite thing to be able to go and do that,
Yeah.
and so and like obviously you've loved a lot of stuff, but the fact that you got to see Visions, the fact that you got to go and do that was cool. Also, as just a person who you were one of the people that like I remember talking about Visions the most with, like being like, because you just absolutely, it's one of your favorite things Star Wars has ever done,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. David says that he saw cardboard Mandalorians as well, and that it was art, and it absolutely was. I think I saw them too, Dave.
Oh,
But
they're correct.
I got to watch episode 7 of The Mandalorian early. We got to watch that Friday night, and then I got to watch. Oh, you got to. Did you get into Visions? No, you had a photo shoot.
I had a photo op, but like
Yeah. So I also got to watch an episode
but
of
we
Visions
got like
early.
we'll talk about it later, but you and I got to be there for the biggest piece of news that like you, me, and a squirrel
Yeah.
cared about.
Yeah.
And like
Well, I
but
wanted to ask. So overall, which panels did you get into?
oh, so the only two that I got into, well, I guess I got in with you at the Galaxy stage for the sequel trilogy, for like the
Yep, the
sequel
villains of the
trilogy
sequel
villains
trilogy,
one.
which was cool. Actually,
Yeah,
much
that,
more insightful than I expected.
that was fun.
And
That
Ian
was just
McDermott
fun.
is just—he's
He
brilliant.
surprised me out of everybody. Like I expected Ian McDermott to be what kind of Harrison Ford is a little bit. Like I
Mm.
thought he was going to be kind of like a little over it,
Yeah,
but takes it for a paycheck. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Nah, he loves that character.
But he not only loves him, has so much knowledge about the
Mm.
character and has so much like his memory is just so brilliant, and his jokes about like taking little jabs at the rise of Skywalker, like, but honestly in a way that he also, yeah, he was taking jabs, but he was never being like hitting below the belt.
Yeah,
Like, like he was taking jabs, but he also took jabs at like other of the films that he's been in.
Yeah.
Like, and it was so like he had a really good sense of humor about it. Hearing Andy Serkis talk about villains was like so proves why he's the man.
Absolutely.
Gwendolyn Christie had the best truth bomb of the whole thing. We'll get to it. But
Yep. So that was
I got
one
into
villains of
that.
the sequel trilogy. What else did you get into?
Andor,
Yep. So it was the making of Andor.
the making of Andor season
Which
1.
was
I got
cool
into that.
because rather than just have the cast there, they had like the visual effects director, the composer, they had
production
designer, costume designer,
the costume designer,
some of I think one of the other writers, and then Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna were there.
and the editor.
Yes,
That's
the
who
editor.
they had.
It just showed that they were so proud of their craft that they didn't feel like, oh, people should come here just to see the cast. Like, I want to show you everybody.
It was you, and you could just tell, like, Tony Gilroy, who seems like the most average Joe looking fella. Like, he's handsome, don't get me wrong. He is just like, but he's just like this. You would expect somebody who writes Andor to look like he wears a scarf and has like just the most intellectual thing. He was just a guy, and it was awesome. Like, he's just like the best. And Diego Luna talking as like a producer and an actor was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, I know he's done a ton of stuff in Mexico, like doing a ton of that's where he's from, right? Like, he's from Mexico, or is he
Yeah, he was raised
I
in
could be
Mexico.
wrong.
I believe he was
That's
raised
what
in
I thought.
Mexico. Yeah.
Because I believe he did a lot of work wherever he grew up, or at least wherever he was. He did a lot of work as a producer in those in the productions that he worked on. Like, so he wasn't just an actor.
Do you know he was in a Spielberg movie?
Okay, let me guess. War of the Worlds?
Nope.
Amistad? No, that would have
Nope.
been a little bit young.
Zoe Saldana is in the movie as well.
Okay. All right, let me see here. Let me see if I can. This is going to be
Stars Tom Hanks.
Is it The Terminal?
It's The Terminal.
Yeah, that's right. There we are. All right. Yep.
Crazy.
I haven't seen The Terminal. I need to see The Terminal because I've heard many mixed things about it.
I love it.
And I'm like, I want to see. I want to see this movie. And I'm like, but my favorite thing about Diego, like, that was great, and then to see the little teaser trailer of season 2,
the little sizzle reel. It's enough. I don't need anything else. I'm sold. Give me that sizzle reel, and then give me the date. It's not coming out till 2025, I don't think, though, is it?
2024.
Yeah? I thought it was skipping next year.
I mean, I don't know if the writer's strike, it's going to be pushed, but like 2024 was what I believe. Was what was announced before. Because it was 2 years away from when it aired. Yeah. It was kind of like the vibe. So it was
all right, so you got into villains of the sequel trilogy, making of Andor,
and then the last one was Bad Batch. I only did 2. I mean, I only did the 3.
Yeah. And of those 3, which one was your favorite?
I was expecting it to be Andor. Easily was Bad Batch. Like, now, granted, obviously we're biased, but you and I talked about that like on the day of. We were sitting there, and you can actually see this. That they streamed a part of this on YouTube, so you can watch this. You can, and if you listen closely, you can hear Naf and I crying. But
you have to listen closely. It's the loudest noise,
like there. Real close. But they played this incredible recap of season 2 at the very beginning,
dude.
And I think as soon as it started, you and I started tearing up.
Yeah.
Because it was beyond just us. It was beyond the fact that, like, oh, the source material is powerful. You said it. I think we even said it to each other during it. I forget who was you or me that said it first. I think it was you that says, I'm tearing up because without this show, we wouldn't have met.
Yeah.
And it was that moment of to be able to have that where you and I were connected in this moment of like, here we are. There is no season 3 announcement yet. There was nothing about that. And we're just sitting here watching a show that we unapologetically love more than again, I love it more than Clone Wars and Rebels. I think that you still prefer is it Clone Wars that you prefer or is
Honestly,
it
I don't even know these days. I just love it all.
I agree, but
But I
like
do
for me
love
I'm
Bad
like
Batch a lot.
it's like it's Andor and Bad Batch I think are what swap for me every day as to like the best Star Wars content for me.
Mm.
That they'll swap daily. But my feeling with it, but just watching that recap video, I was sold already. I was like, I know they're gonna talk, but like that, I was already like, it was the best trailer they could do for it. To me, I'm like, it was even funny because you and I were talking about, I'm like, that is the show that I love. I love a lot of people will just focus on like the filler or like quote unquote filler episodes or things like that. But you and I, first off, love it all. But this is the thing that we love like most of all is this
Mm.
part of it. And having them come out and just seeing Jennifer Corbett, Brad Rao, Athena, I'm blanking on her last name. But like the other producer there.
Podwans, what's up, babies?
Podwans!
Um,
Hey there!
oh my god, you did that. You really did that. Um,
I tried.
but one of the things that I really appreciated about that panel in particular was that Dave Filoni was nowhere to be seen. Because I am sick and tired of all the videos of people going, Filoni, why do you keep hurting us? It's not him. It's not him.
Like Jennifer Corbett is the one who's doing this, and it's like it's so brilliant to see
Put some
her
respect on her name.
put some respect on that name. She took this show to new heights. Her, Brad Rao, that whole team. And Allie was talking to me about it, and she was like, "Was it weird to see like hear Michelle Ong's voice like?" You hear Omega come out of like just a different face, and I'm like, yeah, it was really weird to listen to this incredible actress just talk and be like, that's Omega, that's Omega right there,
Yeah.
that's Omega. And but the coolest thing about that was also sharing that with Tate,
Yeah.
who I assumed was just as big a fan of the Bad Batch as us. The fact that he was there, I was like so determined that like, oh, he's gotta love this property. He's gotta fucking love these guys. And just to have that moment where it's like, I like him. And just to have that moment of like, and finding that out after I spewed 30 minutes of Bad Batch love at him. And I was like, it was
It took us a minute to get in as well, and there was a point where they actually said, "Guys, you might not get in," and then we still did, and he had saved seats for us. Jeff definitely, he's a G, a good man.
I have a video of you and I having the moment of realizing, oh shit, we're actually gonna get in.
Yeah,
And that one kills me. And that one makes me tear up. That video makes me tear up a lot. Like just sitting there and hearing them talk about like what it meant for them to write what they did, like all of that. But I mean, come on. You and I both know what the moment was. I feel like there are two.
mm.
One was Michelle Ong possibly slipping up.
Yeah.
And
What did she say again? I forget.
she said so like it was they were talking about Tex. Spoiler alert for Bad Batch season 2. You gone? Okay. Spoiler alert for season 2 is that Tech dies in the end. And but you and I theorized that he ain't dead, he's being Winter Soldiered. And because we both were like, they're gonna hurt us that much more. And then you and I had a moment of deciding she's talking, and then she goes, and the fact that we didn't get him back this episode, she said something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like,
was like the fact that we didn't get him back this episode was just insane. Now, you could say that like what she meant was like, oh, like the fact that at the end it's not like, oh, he comes back and saves him. But I think there was even like a little bit in the crowd, just kind of like you heard a bunch of murmuring of people
yeah,
going, because you and I both did the same thing. We both looked at each other. It was like, this episode? like just
Danger.
going in danger, and
Yeah.
then and then D Bradley just comes in and just goes D Bradley just comes in and talks about tech and does the whole thing almost to distract off of that, and but like yeah, smart move, like just to mute, because it's a pretty big spoiler that you don't necessarily want to do with that, but
Do silly
do a
dance when it's
silly
safe.
dance when it's safe. Smart move. We just got to get a gif of that. That's got to go on our socials.
That's beautiful.
Uh,
But the
like
other one, I'm
this is
assuming
what we do for
was
our fans. This is what we do for our fans, listeners. Listen, if you're just following us, if you join one of our lives and you ask us to do a silly dance, you think we won't? We're
we shall.
attention whores at best. Like, like why do you think we do this? But like the thing was her saying that the story's not over. That moment when you and I both look at each other and we just went, yes!
And then she goes, they asked Jennifer what are her favorite moments. And she's like, there's this moment, and then there's also a new moment, which is when I told the people at Star Wars Celebration that season 3 of Bad Batch is on the way, and then we had a trailer for them. And it goes dark and they play the trailer, and it was just like, and it looks so good.
It's so good, guys. It's so good. It's this season. There's stuff in it that has been reported on now. Obviously, there are characters, if you really love like Clone Wars and Rebels, there's stuff that makes sense. There's stuff that ties in things that we've had questions on for a bit now, that kind of was like, oh, is that character going to come into this? And the answer is yes. And they did that, and just to have that feeling of being able to watch it, and then they had to hurt us. They said, we're running out of time, but can we watch that one more time? And then they said, our orders are, we got to let you guys go. We got to let you guys kind of go there. And then I think it was D Bradley who says, but Jennifer, when have we ever followed orders? And then they were like, good point. And they played it a second time. It was so good. You and I were just crying that whole panel. Like I would always look over. One of us would look over at some point, and it would just be like a moment of, if I wasn't crying, you were crying, and then we like handed the baton over to the other, and it was like, okay, now it's your turn to cry.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So I'm curious. So I'm curious now. So obviously, you attended the showcase. You attended attended Andor and the Villains of Sequel Trilogy, Visions, and Bad Batch, right?
Yep, and Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into a lot of panels.
Yeah, you got into a lot.
Which is good and bad, because the days go really fast. And, each of those panels are, a couple of hours. And you do 2-3 in a day between standing in line and getting in. That's your day done. So, like, I did no shopping outside of a couple of books that you were able to find for me. And I stood in line with Johnny for a little bit for the Path of Destruction book, or Path of Vengeance. I can't remember which one it is. And we got that signed by Kevin Scott, which was really cool. But yeah, essentially, I didn't get much time on the actual like floor, just going around buying stuff, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably your wallet thanks you.
Yeah, especially after like the trip in total and getting home and going, wow, I spent a lot of money. It's definitely yeah, sobering.
So I guess I have a question, that, because yeah, I guess my recommendation is, if people were going to Celebration, it is going to be expensive, it is going to be there. Like, I also do recommend, find a day that maybe there's a panel that you're not as interested in, and I had that. I wouldn't want to do it more than one day. I also think it's really nice if you do go with someone that you really want to do stuff with, because whether it's a thing of like you can tag team like we did, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to try to get into Lucasfilm.
Mm,
You go, I can go pick up your book if you want
yeah.
it. Like, but also just take a time to kind of like go and get lost a little bit in it, because
Well,
I ended up going by the artists and meeting a ton of people and just kind of going around and doing that.
yeah.
I would have liked to have done more panels, but I did a fair amount of photo ops and autographs. Um, that kind of took up a little bit of time where I would have liked to go to panels.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
And
yeah,
I what I found really interesting was like we were separated a lot. Like there wasn't heaps of time where you and I were actually together at Star Wars Celebration.
I think you and I at some point gave up on it. Like, I think that was also kind of what made Andor and Bad Batch so special. Was those were the
Yeah.
few times where you and I, especially Bad Batch, because Bad Batch was literally the morning. Like, we waited in line, then we got, like, you and I arrived together. We went there, we got in line, we did the whole thing, and then we actually got in together and sat next to, like, that was like kind of like one of the few times we were able to just like stick together
Mm.
and do it.
Yeah,
And
it
that
was awesome.
was th- that part was special. That was really special to be able to go and do that together. Um, and that's I think that, but I do, my question to you is kind of I guess
It's a great
favorite,
question.
like, of those yeah, I know, great, fantastic. The out of those panels, which of those, first off, which one was your favorite? And then
Uh,
second off, was there anyone that, I guess I'm curious, was there anyone that you kind of wish was a little bit better than it was?
I
Like,
think that so the way that that panels work for you guys that haven't attended before is you actually have to enter a lottery to get into like the big ones. Like there's five that were like the big ones, and you have to enter a lottery, and then you get a ticket, and that ticket lets you in. Um, Otherwise, you have to stand in line, and the chance of you getting in is not likely. All of the other ones, you just stand in line for, and it's just kind of, you know, whatever works. But there are three stages, one main stage, and they stream stuff to the other two stages. So that being
yeah,
said, I entered the lottery for everything, and I didn't win many of them. I won for two villains of the sequel trilogy in the Lucasfilm Showcase, and Bad Batch and Ahsoka were the two that I really wanted to get into. And so I was like, I didn't get the two that I wanted. And so I was already, you know, I was basically standing right there where Keegan is sitting and almost crying because I didn't get into what I wanted to get into. And I was so,
yeah,
like, angry. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. Like, I'm flying. They should have taken into account that I was flying there from Australia and given me the ticket. Like, let me in. Um, yeah. But then we got into the Lucasfilm Showcase, and that was just, you know, I thought that I was just gonna sit and they were gonna stream like a little trailer, but no, they like did a full on everything that's coming. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Everything that's on the way. And we got to see, you know, some Mando stuff. We got to see Acolyte. We got to see the new slate of films. We got to see Indiana Jones, like footage, like 10 minutes worth of it, which looked heaps of fun. It was, yeah, it was very very cool. Like it's kind of hard to get past it, and they also did show an Ahsoka trailer there, um, so that was dope. They showed the Ahsoka trailer to us and then put it on YouTube at the exact same time. So I had people sending it to me going, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like,
I'm here. Like,
"Yeah." That was really cool. I think the villains of the sequel trilogy I did really enjoy, but there was a certain point where you start going, this is a lottery. Something huge is going to happen here because why is that one a lottery? And nothing really happened. It was just kind of a nice panel. So that one like didn't disappoint me, but I was kind of like, oh, I kind of
yeah, it
thought
was
something
one of
bigger
those
was going to
moments where it was
happen.
like, oh, this was just what it was.
Yeah,
Like, like, this was exactly what it was meant to be.
yeah. So that's probably the one that I was kind of like, oh, okay. But the Visions panel was spectacular. Like they not only showed the season two trailer and the season two episode, but they also had a segment for each creator. They did an interview with each individual director, writer. There, they each got like 20 minutes to talk about their episode in depth, which was very, very cool. And having watched most of those episodes now, it is very good. Oh my god, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I'm so sorry.
No, we're both in that camp. Like, but I guess so. With that, yeah. Like, and honestly, the Visions one sounded great. Like, I wish I was able to actually attend that one because it was really cool. You were telling me about one of the guys who apparently was like again like a his own studio that he built like from scratch. Was that the one that you guys actually got to see the episode of?
No, the one that we got to watch was from Aardman Studios, the company that does Wallace
Oh,
and Gromit.
got it. That one. But
Yeah,
that
but
see
there's been
that like
heaps, and just watching, because not only do they sit there and talk about their team and how proud they are, but they sit there and talk about what Star Wars means to them and what their intention was in creating the episodes. And then when you watch them afterwards, it was very very cool.
and so with that, you brought up a good point. There's a lot of spontaneous moments that happen in Star Wars Celebration. A lot of times because they have the live stage, right? Like that was
Mhm.
where I had mine. Was they have the live stage was and they'll have these moments where creators or people will come out and sometimes people will say things that clearly wasn't scripted or even they intended to say, like whether it was like the Michelle Long possible slip up, or it was a thing there where it was like just people also just getting very teary eyed
Yeah.
at the moment because I think it becomes very real to them,
Mm.
like what Star Wars meant. Was there anything of that, like that there was a spontaneous moment in Celebration that made you go, "Oh, that's my that will stay with me." Like maybe it was like
Um.
somebody talking about Star Wars or something like that. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like there were things that came up, like Johnny saying that he wanted to go and get some signatures, and me going, "Cool, I'll come with you," and just actually having time to sit and hang out with him for a couple of hours was lovely. Um. Yeah, there was like sitting down and waiting for my photo op with Hayden Christensen and meeting an artist and just sitting there and talking with him for a little while. And I met some cosplayers that I got to talk with. Like, I feel like my day was kind of too packed to have a lot of just spontaneous little moments. But yeah, like overall, like I got to tick all the boxes of all the things I wanted to do. So it worked out really well for me.
oh
And
yeah,
again, Japan is happening in 2025 and I'm going. Like I'm not missing that.
oh likewise. Like the thing is like going from a standpoint of someone who decided to go last minute for no reason at all. Basically, I knowing that for a while there was an option or there was a distinct path in my life where what just happened didn't happen is insane to me because Star Wars Celebration is my new favorite thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and now that we have a group, like we'll talk a little bit about them. Obviously, a lot of it is just for Naf and I personally, um, but we've there's a group that we have, Aegon House. Some of you guys have seen us all on Element Seven's streams or videos or things like that. Um, but it was basically a group of TikTok creators who all kind of met up the first night. Um, and then kind of from there, there was this like core group that was like we all had like this big group, which was that was so much fun to be in the room with people like Beth, like Mara J. Skywalker, JJ, Kari, John, Element, like you had a Star Wars facts guy, Star Wars lawyer. You had Codename Fulcrum, you had everybody all over the map. Ellie, you had like a cameo, you had all of them like all in one room. And that was so much fun. And they're like having those chances with all those things and then forming Aegon House was one of the coolest moments ever. Was just all of us having that last night in London and the night before it when we all were dancing and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. There are moments that I won't forget. Like that one of my favorite moments, this came from Leslie Headland. This was one of the ones that I was like I won't forget it. It made me, if I wasn't excited for the Acolyte before, this made me excited for it. Was Leslie Headland, the creator of Russian Doll, also the showrunner of the Acolyte, um, was so insane. She was on the live stage, and I've been really excited for the Acolyte because of her. And hearing her talk about this, she basically is on this live stage, and she starts tearing up, and she's like, "I'm tearing up because Star Wars saved my life." and she had this whole funny thing where I have it on video, I put it in some of my TikTok, but she had a little line, and she just goes, she just said something akin to, "And if you don't like," she's like, "What's so beautiful about Star Wars is everybody has the thing that they love. Everybody has, oh, I like this thing. I like this thing. There are so many different things to love." And then she just goes, "And if you don't like the Acolyte, that's fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is Star Wars is a metaphor for a spiritual journey to discover who you are.
Mm.
And if you can relate to that, you belong here." And it's like, and that was something that I won't forget because she said it with just such humor of her. Just, I'll never forget the laugh that she did was like, "If you don't like the Acolyte, that's fine." Like, she just was so cute. Like, it was just a moment of like, that's really beautiful. And the way you phrase that is great. Of like, which also made me have a moment of like, I've had criticisms of stuff, but there is stuff that I love.
Yeah.
And it made me validated in my approach to things, which is I focus on what I love. And I think it's really beautiful that someone can love Resistance more than Rebels or Clone Wars.
I mean,
And
we
that's
had that, right?
beautiful.
At forward into the back. Definitely give him a
Yeah.
follow. But we did rankings one night of just all of our shows, and you had like Resistance up the top. I was like, wow. But then he explained why, and it was like very interesting, and it makes me like I'm gonna
And
go
I'm
and
like,
do a bit
I
of a
need to
watch of
watch
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I've never watched it. So I'm like, I always want to make sure that like I give things a fair shake. And it's just was, I mean, and I know you and I were like the Bad Batch and just like putting the Bad Batch at like the top of ours and like standing firm against anyone who would oppose us.
exactly.
Like, but I ultimately, as you said, it's like it's a costly adventure. It really is. But I would have not have missed it for the world.
Yeah.
And it's why it's like I for a while never necessarily had any desire to go to Japan. I do now.
Star Wars is there, and hopefully, they figured out how to make everything a bit easier by then as well. Because the XL was not a good venue. I'm sorry, it
Not
was
a good
bad.
venue.
It was bad. And there was a feedback form after where I think every person was roasting them for it. But there were moments like there was a point where I needed to get out of the convention center quite quickly, and it took me 15 minutes because it was just blocked. You just couldn't walk anywhere. And yeah, like it was brutal. It was brutal. But overall, it was a brilliant experience. Like you said, I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I got to experience so much stuff. I got some photo ops with Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Giancarlo Esposito, and Ian McDermott. Um, and they were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Ewan McGregor one, they even put R2 in there because he had some COVID protocols. They didn't want to put a plexiglass up, so they decided instead we'll put an R2 in between you, which was lovely. He's growing this mustache out, which really didn't suit him.
Does not suit him.
But he's here. Hi, Tia.
Oh, hello.
What was that?
I don't know, man. I'm just going for it right now.
Look at what you did to this man. He has one white claw and he's losing his mind.
Apparently. I think that's just a full day of work. But I
Yeah.
guess with that, so question for you, because I also got like photo ops there. I got Giancarlo, Andy Serkis, Ming Na Wen, and Michelle Long. Uh it's so funny because I do feel like photo ops tells you a lot about what properties people love.
Yeah.
Is like a very funny thing that I kind of thought because like there were so many different things there. But I guess you may have had some other questions. Was there anything that you haven't asked already?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, obviously, we've talked about some of like our favorite moments in general. One of the things that I wanted to know is you jumped in last minute. So I wanted to know how do you think that impacted your experience overall? And in future, would you jump in last minute again, or would you prefer to go and sort it out a little bit earlier?
Like I think the main benefit I had to jumping in last minute was I did it with someone else who was already planning on to going for months.
Hmm.
So like the issue I would have seen is this, like I know that housing was a bit of an issue, like with people. like people having to get stuff that's like super far out of the way or not being able to do that. Like you had already gotten housing. And by that point, like we're best friends. So it was like I could just crash with you. And that was really nice to already have that figured out. So that was a blessing to me because I would have not had that. So that would have been a thing where I'm like, okay, I kind of cheated, you know? Um, but I think that for my first, because this is my first con, much less my first celebration, this is my first con ever. To some degree, I think that was the best way to do it was to just not was to do it last minute, not really think about it, and get caught up in the excitement in 1 week rather than having like a full month to plan it out. Like I
Yeah.
almost drove myself insane how excited I was for a week though. Like I almost died just due to excitement. But it was kind of nice to be able to kind of be like, oh, well, if I'm going to be there, I want to do this, I want to do that. The one thing was not getting a chance to participate in the lottery.
Mm.
That was the one thing, but there's like no way you can't avoid that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for
Um,
joining us on TikTok.
yes, hello Liz, how are you doing?
So the
Good, I
lottery.
assume. But yes, the lottery was kind of the thing for me where I was like, okay, I would have liked to have participated in that because even like to just have known I'm getting into Bad Batch or things
Yeah.
like that would have been great. Or Andor being like able to do that. Now,
No
uh,
spoilers for Jedi Survivor, please.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, very excited like that you finished Jedi Survivor. I haven't gotten a chance to finish it yet. After this, we're probably gonna go and do the same. But my my favorite part I think about going with no expectations was I mean, it was the people. That was the main thing I was excited to really experience, and that did not disappoint. Um, but the the thing about it was that if I were to go again, I mean, sure, like if there was like a thing last minute, I think I'm just it's more now I know it's just whenever it's coming, I just gotta know that that's where some of my money's going.
Yeah.
Like it's just from here on out, I just know that, and especially if I think the thing is going again I don't wanna do it unless I'm already in contact with you, Pep, Kari, everybody that's like, "What are we doing? Are we
Yeah.
gonna stay at the same place? We gotta stay in the same area." Like, what I love about it now is it's more a matter of like, "Okay, we know we're all doing it, so are we all gonna dress up in cosplay? Are we
Mm.
all gonna do
Do some
this?"
matching
Like
cosplays.
exactly. Like, I think for me, I that was the thing about, like, joining last minute that I think that, like, I it was great because I knew you were gonna be there, and we knew a couple of our friends were gonna be there, but I wouldn't have done it if I was alone. Because
Yeah.
because because and I would not recommend doing it alone, unless you're really okay with doing stuff alone. Um, and that was the one thing because cons can be very overwhelming,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's really hard to talk to people. I'm a people person, like, in a lot of ways. I found it very overstimulating and overwhelming at times to not I couldn't just go up to random people and just chat like I'm typically able to. Like when we were in our TikTok group, that I felt really good about going and doing that.
Yeah.
Like Elizabeth talking with you and things like that. Um, it was one of those things where it was like I was very glad that I was able to kind of vicariously get invited to those things or talking with people, like talking with like Theories by T or things like that. That was very cool. But I was talking with Ali about it. I'm like, I would not want to do it alone. And frankly, I would love to do it with a partner. Like I would love to do it with my wife at some point because at least then you have a built-in shield.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of what I noticed was a lot of people were there in groups of two. And so when you were in a group of one, sometimes it felt a little alienating because you wanted to share it with people, but it was a little bit tough because you also don't want to be like invading their space. Um, but overall, I would say, like, I think it's just now I'm just so excited to go back and do it with people
Yeah.
that,
And have our group
like,
expand.
Exactly, and, like, to have those memories, like Elizabeth having you in there, like, having like, in a more direct way, like, having hopefully Spooky and Kit, like, go.
Yeah, like
It's
other
just
people
like,
that we've already connected with. It'd be great to see like Span at one of them too.
oh,
Um,
Spen, absolutely.
yeah. David says that planning it with a group is 1,000 times better than venturing in alone, hoping to connect with someone. Which that was like my original
Exactly.
plan. I was kind of like, I'm going, like so. It was really comforting for me to have you join me. Like it made a massive
Likewise.
difference. Um,
There's
yeah,
also we were able to share stuff. Like, I think that's also one of the big things is you and I were both able to go, you were able to be like, "Oh, I saw the Acolyte trailer." And then I was be like, and I could show you like pictures from the floor. Like I could show you like it was
yeah,
a vicarious experience that it was like, I mean, you and I talked the first night of us being like, "Oh, what was the favorite part of your day? Oh, like what was your favorite part? Like what was and it was just that was so much fun. Was
yeah.
just you and I having that like those moments of having that.
I think one of the things that really resonated with me, I remember just being there after day one and like getting home, just being like, if this was done, like I'm good. Like I am so like full, like emotionally, like I
Yeah.
couldn't actually peak anymore. And I think it definitely was probably the first time in my life where I've been in a space where I actually felt like I fit in, um, which
I
I'd never
felt that.
really experienced before. Because even in other places where you do have like friends and people around, like I don't know, like I was like, all these people are like me. Like every person here actually likes this more than anything else on the planet. As opposed to people that you just hang out with at home that are like, it's all right,
If
blah blah blah.
anything, there are some people here who like it more than I do. And it was
Me,
like that's a really weird, insane moment to look over at your buddy and just go, "Damn, you do love this more than me, don't you?" And just
yeah,
like
it's
having
like I am
that
better than
moment.
you. Um, Yeah. Elizabeth says they ran into people, but overall felt like they missed out on the things everyone was doing together, and they get pretty bad FOMO sometimes. So that was pretty hard for me to see everyone's pics and vids. Yeah, and that was like a big thing for us when like big group photos and stuff were happening. We were like, we want to be there, and you're not in all of them. But we got to be in a couple of the big
Oh yeah.
ones.
You were able to be there, so I felt represented. However, me and Beth were trying to work our way through the floor to get over there. There's a video I know I'm in at some point, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't know where to find it. And I'm like, and it's a thing where like that's a little sad at times. But like Elizabeth, obviously we're gonna get you like, I mean, being there next time, like absolutely, like you're part you're all we're all like in that group together,
mm,
like, and it's a thing where what's cool about that group too, like, oh, that is the worst part. Like Elizabeth just brought up I think the thing that is the only downside to celebration is celebration is like celebration is kind of like a really good meal. It's so good all the way through. You're eating it. It's just fantastic. It's phenomenal. And then it's done. And you're like, "Can I get it again? Can I can I have that?"
yeah, I did want it to
And
last
then you
forever.
then it's a thing of like it's like you visit a restaurant like abroad and it's like, "Oh, what I would give to just be able if it only was just a little bit closer." And as Elizabeth's saying is like the people being far away, y'all made me fall in love with you. Y'all made me fall in love with you guys and get used to you guys for 4 days and then you leave. Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, leave like a dad going to get milk and just not coming back for years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's the thing of like y'all made me fall in love with you and then you just go you go and I think that that's the only downside is to celebrations. The people are so cool that not being able to see everybody daily is so sad.
you're telling me you're $100 flight from them. I
Well,
am
hey,
much further.
like
But that's
well you're
why
you're
DiadCon
you're
next
near
year
Tate.
is going to be
You're near Tate.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to DiadCon.
yeah. So DiadCon next year is going to be huge, and then yeah, getting together for Japan in 2025 is going to be massive as well. It's our reason to keep going. Um, yeah, like it's going to be wonderful.
Oh my god, yeah, it
I miss
feels.
you all the time too, Curry.
I miss you guys all the time, like truly, and it's one of those things, like Elizabeth, you were saying, where it's like it is really sad, but like, and I know that 2025 is not that far away. Like it feels so far, but it really isn't. And
Yeah.
especially with DiadCon, I feel like gonna help bridge the gap a little bit.
Yeah. The benefit of
It's
not having to pay for a con as well, just going out and doing our own thing, is going to be awesome.
well, that's also part of it that I really love is the fact that it's not really a con. It's
Mm.
mainly just an excuse to get everybody together for 4 days to hang out,
Yeah.
which is some of the best things that we have done in the whole, grand scheme of things. Like,
Disneyland tickets are pretty expensive.
fair, but nonetheless, like, it's still one of those things of like getting a chance to go over there with everybody. It still is essentially the equivalent to me of like, it's going to be like, to me, it's like almost like not even a, that's honestly the thing is, yeah, Elizabeth, like probably even trying to see if we can get a group discount would probably be the way to go. But what I love about what I'm really excited about DiadCon, and this is, I guess, the first time we're going to kind of announce it here for the people here. We are going to do a one with the filmies there, a
Yeah, it should be
live
good.
one with the filmies, which to the like I guess in total 6 people listening, I think 2 people are us. That like are doing this. We're going to basically, as we have pretty much everybody that's going to Diacon come on the podcast, hopefully everybody. So then we all have you guys as our nominees as you go into it. It's something we really want to celebrate. Obviously, our goal, just to everybody, is that we want this podcast to really take off in this year. Our goal is to really do what we can to make that happen. And with your guys's, if you guys share our content around, that would really help us out. Um, whether that's like lives if we're here or comment in on our post, share them, stitch, duet, subscribe to our I was about to say our OnlyFans. It was
Only
rounding it
films.
back out.
It's
Our
just
only
Jim
films.
and his what do you call them?
Jim,
Chips that are gonna get
it's
us there.
only Jim. Like that's what it's gonna be. It's just it's
Only Jim.
only for Jim.
Yeah. But
But
overall, like I think the experience was really positive, and I think that if it is like if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to do it at least once. Like you have to. Like
oh, you have to.
yeah, it is worth it. It is worth it. And it was some of the best days of my entire life, and
A- Agreed.
it makes being home a lot worse.
Oh yeah, and
But
it's
we're prepared, right? We're gonna loop back around. We're gonna be happy again. It's we got this.
it's kind of that old adage of "don't cry because it's gone, smile because it happened," like
Mm.
kind of thing there, which I love.
Grieve
Um,
not for your friends who transform into the Force.
Great
Rejoice.
job.
Uh,
You're absolutely right there, though. Like it is truly just this thing, and honestly, guys, like it's kind of crazy. Like obviously, we don't have a huge community on our page, but Naf and I was talking about we're small but mighty. And we love our content. We love what we get to do
we're
with you guys.
average size but mighty. Okay.
Okay, you're right. Maybe not small. Like I know you get sensitive about that. But like but it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm not sure if uh oh what was it? I want to make Oh yeah, no, you definitely got to make some good cosplays for next time. I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to do the same thing there.
Yeah,
Uh
your setups were awesome. I had a cosplay that I was gonna do, but I ended up being unavailable on that day. So, um, yeah, I'm keen to actually have some stuff put together for Japan.
But at least you get to have it finished when you actually do go and do it, because you can actually take the time to make the full-on
Exactly.
shoulder.
Yeah. Thanks, David. I
Yeah, like
appreciate that.
oh yeah. Oh, Survivor Marin. I kind of want to do a gender bent Survivor Marin. Like I want to do that.
Be cool.
That's one that I've been thinking about. But it's um but as you're saying, like and just to round it down, like I think the bottom line is if you're thinking of doing it, do it. simply put.
Yeah.
And if you guys are considering, next May the 4th, go to DiadCon and you get to meet Naf and I, which is a treat in of itself. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Several content creators who are much more popular than us have said that we were the delightful surprise that they were not expecting. That, like, which, if that's not a ringing endorsement of friendship, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
And so that is the thing that I think is, just one of those
Hi, Spooky.
absolute wins. Oh, well, hey, Spook. We're talking about how we want to meet you in person so bad. So you better be going to DiadCon. But
Yes.
enjoy work. We also are going to have you on for Bad Batch because we need to talk trauma with you. And so that's in the works. So just have our people talk to your people. And but buddy, rounding out, because I think it's going to be we're getting close to the
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
a
we
2 hour
can wrap
mark.
up.
But what do you feel on take it all into account? Favorite favorite moments. I'm gonna say favorite moments, most surprising. Uh and this is like not just panels, but like opening up to everything.
Yeah.
And then if you were to do it all again, what would you do differently? If anything.
Yeah. I think that's probably my favorite moments come from that last night in the pub where Lucasfilm was having
Oh yeah.
their end of celebration as well, which is great. Got to meet some of the guys from the Star Wars show, which is really cool. But sitting around that room drinking and doing Star Wars hot takes was just wild. Seeing everybody's actual wild hot takes was mental. And then
That was so great.
the group of adults standing outside that pub at the end of the night after we'd been kicked out, just professing our love for one another and crying together as a group was probably, yeah, one of the nicest, most heartfelt moments of my entire life. And if I got a chance to do it again and I could do just that, I would.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
why I
what's going to
think
happen at
DiadCon
DiadCon.
is so great. I was about to say, like, that's what, like, DiadCon, my favorite thing is not only us to be able to do a One with the Films night, which, keep in mind, if DiadCon becomes this awesome thing that continues to happen and happen, we can just make this a tradition that we always have a night where One with the Films hosts something,
Yeah. But
which is my hope.
if
But
there
go ahead,
was
go ahead.
yeah, if there was something that I would do differently, it would be looking for the fried chicken place.
Fried chicken place.
Or what was it called? Sarisu, the place Pep tried to take us. If I could do something differently, it would be not ditching John at McDonald's.
I would have done it all over again.
Yeah.
I would have like,
But
like
actually, what I would probably be doing differently is I do wish that I got a bit of extra merch. I think that because I did the trip to LA first, that definitely ate up a lot of my like funds.
oh,
So it was
certainly.
difficult to want to spend money on stuff at Celebration. But yeah, I mean for Japan that probably won't happen. I'll probably just extend the stay in Japan and go and explore there
Or at
afterwards.
least exactly, like, and also with Japan, like, because I think it's cheaper for you to go directly there. Um, hell, it might be a thing that I go to you for a little bit, but like, it's one of those things where, um, the
That's how I remembered the
so
name Pep. Sarisa. I was like, Sarisu.
exactly, but my favorite thing was, with you was like, I agree with you. I think that I would have had tried to have a little bit more uh spending money for shirts and stuff, because all of the shirts, that was a big surprise to me, was how cool all the shirts were, because I heard people talking about the shirts and I just thought it was like a face, like a person's face that was just going to be on it, like it was going to be like, because you kept saying, oh, they have a Luthen one, they have a Marva one, but they don't have a Cassie one. I'm like, well, that's really weird, that shouldn't be the way that it is. And then I saw the design of the t-shirts and I was like, oh, well, it's of Luthen's shop. Cassian don't have no shop. Like, like
There
I
should have
was
been a
kind of like
Cassian
looking
shirt
at
though.
those things there.
There should have been a
Oh,
Cassian
I
shirt.
agree. I agree. I think they even could have had Bix's, like the shop that Bix works at. They could have done one for those.
Also having DNMs on the bus while we just rode around London for ages with Kari was fantastic. Um, yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh yeah, and like I would do a little bit more of the merch stuff as well. I think I would have tried to get into one more panel. I think I would have done less photo ops next time. Like unless there's somebody I'm really keen to go and see,
The photo
I
ops
would have
just
tried.
feel like it's like going to the strippers. It's a little unfulfilling. You're like, wow, I got to see all of that, and then you're like, now
All
what?
right,
Yeah, it's like,
like,
oh,
like
cool. I like it's great to see Hayden Christensen. But then I just
out
left.
of the two, having done both, out of the two, go to the autograph. Go to the autograph. Like
Yeah,
if you're gonna spend money on one, do an autograph. Like it's more if you value more than just getting a picture with the person,
yeah, it's
because you
like the
don't really get a chance
conversation.
to like. Because I had like legit conversations with Andy Serkis, like barely. Like again, keep in mind they're still truncated, but I had a legit thing with Giancarlo. Definitely Michelle Ong. Michelle Ong, especially if you go see the voice actors, especially if there's like a character that you really like. By the way, hi Chaco, how you doing? Chaco's in our live stream there, but uh I felt with Michelle Ong that was really great because also just knowing that D Bradley's going to get swarmed, but it was one of those things that having thanks Chaco, he likes my Bad Batch shirt, so I'm very happy about it. But the thing that I felt with Michelle Ong was I was able to legitimately tell her that like Bad Batch happened when my mom died, and that uh it's how I met my best friend, and that I owe a lot to the Bad Batch getting me through some of the toughest times in my life.
Yeah,
And being able to tell her that and thank her for it felt really rewarding. And it's like, Johnny said, "Bring a chair."
I
Pep
saw
did this.
someone with a
Pep had
collapsible chair. I was like, that
Pep
is.
Pep had that. Pep was the big brain. Pep was the big brain. Had that, and I was like, you're smart.
Mm.
You're a smart man.
I would have had that same conversation with with Michelle Ang had I done a autograph with her because yeah, like that was one thing that I said to Giancarlo Esposito. I was like running away and I was like, hey, I need to tell you, like I connected with my best friend for the first time who was overseas, and we literally would not have met if it wasn't for you and our mutual love for you in like Better Call Saul. Like that, it's you,
Yep.
it's you. And he was like,
It,
thanks, and also was weirded out like, why are you talking to me? And then I left.
yeah, and then there was a moment where I did give every one of those. Some of you guys were at the live when I was doing it, but I put together a bunch of these letters for people because
Shocker.
I didn't want to take up too much of their time, uh, and I wanted to be able to just give those. Also, yeah, Michelle Ong is kind of a baddie. Michelle Ong is not kind of a baddie; she is a baddie. Is like the thing there. She's so adorable too. Like she's a baddie, but she's also like adorable. And I don't know how that's possible, but like, it's Michelle Ong was just. You talk about people that are like lights in a room. She's one of those. I don't know how it's possible. Like she just is what Omega is in the show. You know what I mean? Like I understand why they casted her because she just is what they're making Omega. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I guess again, kind of to the wrapping up point, it was so much fun to meet everybody and to do this again in a couple of years. It feels like that fun tradition that you and your friends now have.
Yeah.
And the little and even it was cool to see Celebration have some of those traditions. Like I knew of the running of the Wilrow hoods.
They have the
And
one
then
way out now too.
I said I'm like, listen, if they're doing that the following year, I'm gonna put a Narkina 5 outfit together because I want to go do the running. You and I should do Narkina 5
Yeah.
ones for Japan.
I'm down. I mean,
That
I want something I can wear each day, you know, and something comfy like the Narkina 5 prison jumpsuit. Good play.
oh yeah. Oh, 100%. But yeah, that one I want to go and do the running there because that was so cool just doing the one way out. That was also awesome. Every time Andy Serkis was on stage, everybody shouting "One Way Out," because that was also just a thing of feeling like I really love Andor, but for a while it was like one of the least like watched things,
Mm,
and I was so glad that turned around at the end.
yeah,
But like, it was one of those things where I was just blown away by how many people were just showing the absolute unbridled love for that show.
yeah. Jim was saying he didn't go, but it sounded fun, and yeah, dude, it was. Like, I mean, like you gotta just do it. Come to Japan; it'll be fun. And Choco says
Yeah.
Diet Con next year, which yes, that is happening.
Oh
We are
yeah,
going.
yeah. Choco, you missed us. We were talking about how we're gonna do a one with the films night at DiadCon where we're gonna do the whole thing, and I hope you know you are being roped into my massive D&D one shot that is that we're all doing. So that is one of the things I'm most excited for is to
Mm.
DM all of our crazy friends.
That's gonna be heaps of
Like
fun. And I've
just
seen you DM as well. And if you guys aren't following Kay, definitely do that because he's got heaps of D&D content from the perspective of like a first time DM as well. So yes, he's very good. But on that note, we can wrap up a little bit. Like we said, it was a phenomenal experience. I recommend it to any Star Wars fan at least once in your life. And chances are one will show up around you at some point. There better be one in Australia soon because I need all of you guys to come here because I'm flying everywhere.
oh yeah.
Yeah. But on that note, yeah, if you guys want to find us anywhere, because we've got the YouTube page here, which is where we're streaming, and we're on TikTok too. You can find us at One with the Films on literally anything. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. It's just a great time all around. And you can check in on our podcast on basically anywhere you find your podcasts these days as well. So Spotify is usually the most common one, but Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, everywhere you find your podcasts, you can find us. And the videos go up on demand a few days after we stream, just whenever I get around to uploading them. If you want to find me anywhere, you can find me on Second Thought across most places. Again, your best play is probably going to be going on like TikTok at On Second Thought and clicking the link tree and going through there because I thought it was a unique name, but apparently it's not. So on second thought, I probably should have changed the name. And what about UK? Where can we find you?
Well, you can. Well, fortunately, no one wants to be a movie man with opinions, so I got my name everywhere. And
Except
so,
Twitter.
but you can find. Well, it's I have a singular opinion on Twitter, which frankly is also true. That's just me in general. But that like you can find me on Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, those of you who are following over here, hey. But you can also find me on YouTube with one with the films. But you can find me at Movie Man Opinions. I talk about D&D. I talk about all things that I love, especially Star Wars and movies and film. Only talk about things that I love, and I really try to bring it from the heart there. And then I am taking people through the journey of being a first time DM, making your own system, making your own worlds, because that's what I did, and all of the errors and fun steps along the way.
Hell
But
yeah.
guys, this is our first episode of Brews and Bullshit. Our hope is to be able to get more creators to come on to just uh pull up a drink, pull up a
Hang out.
chair, and then
Yeah.
we'll hang out and have fun. And if you guys liked it, let us know. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is the first post celebration, and we just needed to have one that we were able to get
Mm.
things back and going. You should be able to see this as a regular occurrence on Saturdays. Saturdays, if you're in the US, and generally on the European side of things. Obviously, in Australia, you'll see this on Sunday morning.
But check
We try to
ahead
do
on
that.
YouTube. You'll always see when we're actually going to stream. So it'll give you that notification when we go.
Yes, thank
Thank you
you.
so much to Diet on the Force Pep for the compliment.
First
Great
of
first
first of
episode.
this, yeah,
Yeah. So
thank you.
Brews and
And
Bullshit we'll do in between the weekly watch list. Well, weekly watch list will still be our main priority.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce and bullshit will kind of also be just when we have time for it. Sometimes it's just us talking and being able to do that. But it was one of those
Oh,
things
Johnny
that
thought he
we're
was
very
coming on
excited.
today. No.
Well,
Roped you into
you know what,
watching.
Sean?
Haha.
We wanted to get you guys to watch first so you could see our vibe. We wanted to be able to, perform for you, but then we're going to be able to get you guys on uh probably next time. Next time we do Bruce and bullshit, we'll probably just put this all together and get everybody in.
So rude.
Um absolutely,
Um,
but
cool.
guys, thank you so much for this. This is fantastic. We are we are one with the films. Please keep following us. We talk about all of your favorite films that we have never seen, and you get to show it to us. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here with us. And as my friend Raglan says, is that a snake or a garden hose?
Okay. Raglan?
So-
I'm gonna stop it now.